Well, sure. Well, my name is Miguel Ruiz Jr. Some people know me as Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. I'm the eldest son of an author named Don Miguel Ruiz, author of the Four Agreements. And I am the grandson of Maria Sarita. I come from a lineage of Toltec Eagle Knights from generation to generation. So you can say that my grandmother's father, Don Leonardo, and his father, Don Ezequiel, taught this tradition in their own unique way. Don Ezequiel lived mostly in the 1800s. He was 116 years of age when he passed, and most of the time he taught the tradition in his own unique way, being a carpenter as well as a teacher of the tradition, whom he taught to Don Leonardo, who taught it through music in the Mexican military as a military band leader. And then his daughter, Maria Sarita, began to teach it in her own unique way through faith healing, but she continued to teach it in a way that was different from Don Ezequiel and Don Leonardo, because I don't know the name of Don Ezequiel's father. That's the thing about oral tradition. It goes back as far as living memory. But, you can say that the remnants of the Inquisition in Mexico and all that kind of thing is kind of taboo to teach anything outside of the Catholicism in Mexico. But even though we are completely fused, we are mestizos after all. So we mixed our old ancient traditions with the Catholic Church and all that kind of thing. But Don Ezequiel and Don Leonardo only taught it a couple of ways, and my grandmother decided to share with the whole community. So being the mother of soldiers and a husband who was a soldier, eventually they found themselves going from Juanacatlan, Jalisco to Tijuana, Mexico, where basically the family finally got based or resettled. And in San Diego and Tijuana, she started teaching to a community, and she opened a little temple in San Diego, California, where she taught through a whole community. On Thursdays and Sundays, she would give her sermons. And in 2007, she was inducted into the San Diego Women's Hall of Fame because she kept the tradition alive. I like saying that because it's a nice juxtaposition, contrasting her experience in sharing her tradition in her own way, as opposed to Don Leonardo and Don Ezequiel, who didn't have that opportunity. They taught it to select few people who were interested. So Don Maria Sarita taught in that way, and that's where she taught my father, Don Miguel Ruiz, author of the Four Agreements. And he was a medical doctor. Then he had an epiphany, an aha moment. He changed careers. He followed the family tradition. He began to teach it and fuse Western medicine with, you can say, a holistic approach with spirituality, and put our tradition in a language we can all understand and common sense. And he wrote the Four Agreements, Mastery of Love, and that's where me and my brother, Don Jose Luis, we came into our apprenticeship as my father was doing that, as he was cleaning out the tradition and putting it into a language that we can all relate and all understand. So you can say that I came to do what I'm doing as a family tradition. You can say I come from a lineage that shares not only the wisdom and the stories and the teachings of my previous generations, but we also adapted and put it in a language we can all understand. Life teaches me. So I don't teach exactly the way Don Ezequiel did, because I don't live in the 1800s. I live in 2017. I'm a product of the 90s and the 80s, 1980s meaning. And I was born in San Diego, and I was educated in Tijuana. So I grew up with the juxtaposition of two different cultures, and I'm the result of that. So I could say that I just love my family. I see the relevance of the teachings, and I decided to share it. So from that point of view, that's what I do. In essence, what do I do with that tradition? You can say that I help people heal from the wounds that conditional love left in their life.
How do these conditional, or the traumas that come from conditional love get started in people's lives?
Well, we were born into a community or society that only knows how to domesticate people, how to love conditionally. I love you if. We use it as this little carrot that we chase. If we live up to the expectation, we get the reward. And if we don't live up to the expectation, we get the punishment. So you can say that that's what we know as domestication. So we were born into a society that does that, and we begin to love ourselves conditionally with that. And since we are emotional beings, that, if we live up to this image of what we're supposed to be, depending on whose point of view, then we're worthy of love. We're worthy of that reward. And if we don't live up to it and we fall short of it, then we're worthy of the punishment. And the punishment usually comes with that form of rejection, which is judgment. We judge ourselves continuously. So it's almost become a new normal, or a normal that's been there for a long time. But it's a way that we begin to pretend to be something we're not for the sake of someone else's acceptance, which somehow we adapt and internalize, and we continue to do it onto ourselves. And we create this sense of self based on an ideal, that if we don't live up to the ideal, then our life is worthless. The only way to live it is to reach that ideal. And that's the problem, because we're not living life, we're not enjoying life, we're not even enjoying being ourselves. So to us, that's the main problem that we face. So we can say that if I look at the books that my family has written, from the 4 Agreements to my own books, Master Yourself and all that, we always face that same problem, which is domestication. And its consequence being conditional love. And how to begin to heal those wounds allows us to liberate our will, to begin to enjoy life by enjoying being ourselves. And subsequently, we begin to have this communion with our environment. We once again reconnect with everything around us, because we reconnect with ourselves. We can't give what we do not have.